The July sunset poured over the Serengeti like molten gold. Wind swept across the dry yellow grasslands, carrying dust and the scent of the African wilderness. Under that brilliant sky, a mature leopard walked slowly through the tall grass, no growling. No hunting posture, just steady steps toward the parked jeep. Inside the vehicle, photographer Thomas Martinez felt his heart race as the leopard approached. His mother, Sophia, now 64 years old, stood motionless before the wild animal. No one dared breathe. Then the unthinkable happened. The leopard, one of Africa's most formidable wild creatures, gently pressed her head against the elderly woman's shoulder. Sophia's trembling hand touched the spotted fur, tears streaming down her wrinkled face. This was no coincidence. This was a reunion after 40 years apart. The story began in 1983, when a forest fire in Tanzania became the origin of one of the most remarkable friendships between a human and a wild animal. Sophia Martinez, 24 years old and fresh out of college with a biology degree, arrived in Tanzania as a volunteer at the Serengeti Conservation Center. It was a harsh, dry season, and Sophia's daily work involved monitoring and caring for injured animals. During her third month, after a fire had swept through the reserve, Sophia found a leopard cub under a scorched bush, her coat dirty and singed, her paw burned, her eyes full of fear. Against protocol, Sophia rescued the cub and brought her to the center. Naming her Zara, a Swahili word meaning flower blooming in the desert. Despite initial management concerns, Sophia was allowed to care for Zara with the understanding that she would eventually return to the wild. Sophia fed her, treated her wounds, and slept beside her. Over time, the bond between them deepened. Zara began to recover, and by 3 months old, her coat gleamed and her instincts sharpened. When Sophia had to leave for medical supplies, Zara refused to eat, revealing just how deep their bond had become. But as Zara matured, her wild instincts grew, and Sophia knew their time together was coming to an end. A management meeting confirmed Zara was ready to return to the wild, and Sophia was tasked with leading her reintroduction. It took months training Zara to hunt, reducing human contact, and watching her yearning for the open savanna. When the day finally came, Sophia opened the cage and whispered goodbye. Zara paused, looked back one last time, and walked into the wild. Sophia stood crying, heartbroken yet proud. Life moved on. Sophia returned to America, earned a master's, worked in conservation, raised a son named Thomas, and often wondered if Zara had survived. She heard occasional rumors, but never anything certain. Decades passed. Thomas grew up with stories of Zara and became a wildlife filmmaker. When he was hired to film leopards in Tanzania, he invited his mother. She hesitated, but finally agreed. Returning to the Serengeti felt like returning to her past. Their guide Jamal told them about a female leopard known as Shadow, with unusually deep black spots and an odd calmness around humans. She had lived in the same area for over a decade. Could it be Zara? Impossible. Sophia thought leopards rarely lived more than 15 years in the wild. The next day, as the crew prepared to leave, a leopard emerged from the tall grass and walked steadily toward their jeep. Jamal was shocked. Shadow had never come this close. Without thinking, Sophia stepped out. The leopard stopped before her. Sophia whispered, "Zara." The leopard tilted her head and slowly pressed her head to Sophia's shoulder. Tears streamed down Sophia's cheeks as she touched the fur she once nursed. Scientifically, it made no sense, yet in her heart she knew. This was Zara. Thomas captured the scene on film. People debated, was it truly Zara? Was it a descendant? But those who witnessed it knew the truth in their bones. For the rest of their stay, Zara appeared at sunset, never coming too close to others, always finding Sophia. On their final day, Zara lay beside her one last time, head on Sophia's lap, as if no time had passed. That night, she vanished into the grass. Sophia left behind a letter and photograph, telling Jamal to show people that love isn't just for humans. "Animals don't keep photographs," she wrote, "but they never forget love." The story of Sophia and Zara spread worldwide, reminding everyone that some bonds defy science, explanation, and time. Perhaps you've loved an animal like the tant. Perhaps, wherever she is, she still remembers you.